Hello and welcome to Full Tech Ahead. I'm your host, Amanda Razani, and I'm excited today to have Ray Ploski. He is the Vice President of Corporate Strategy and Marketing for CoreStory. How are you doing, Ray?
Thanks for having me all on. I'm doing well, Amanda. Really looking forward to be able to talk to you a little bit about what Core Story is and what we're looking to be able to accomplish.
Yes, absolutely. So please do share with our audience. You recently, I think, had a rebrand and a new public launch. So share about that and a little bit about what your company, what services your company provides.
Sure thing. So I joined the company just in December of last year, and we've been looking at what types of technologies we've had and realized that a lot of the work that we've done for the past 7 years is around gathering requirements and building out applications. So it's been an evolution from low code into the concept of code to spec to spec-driven development. What Core Story can do, and why we've decided to launch the company or rebrand it as of the beginning of September of 2025, is ingest code bases and provide you with code intelligence. This allows you to be able to have all sorts of different cool uses and concepts, such as spec-driven development, or being able to take code and turn it into spec, or being able to interrogate existing legacy systems to find out what the systems do and how to be able to maintain and manage them. Like Amanda, congratulations! You are now the VP or the CIO of an existing system, and you inherited it an old mainframe system or Oracle Forms or Siebel or Mendix or Java. You need to upgrade your payment system because there's a security issue that your team highlighted. You're able to ingest that old code base, find out what every single requirement does, and then be able to update it whenever you'd like to, and chat with the intelligence to find out what other systems might be dependent. So it's a great way for folks to be able to modernize or migrate, as well as to maintain and live with their existing legacy systems, and be able to do it for a lot less money than they have had in the past. So imagine if you had a product manager from 2025 and you were able to transport them back in time to the 1990s. That's some of the value prop that we offer here at CoreStory.
Awesome. So I've heard that it can be very challenging to update these legacy apps. It can be very difficult to figure out all the code. So are you saying you provide tools that can go through and interpret the code really quickly?
So what would take a usually a large consulting team 6 months to be able to do in a fleet of folks can be done in a matter of minutes or days or weeks if you really want to have a very large code base. But a lot of these enterprises, 1.5 million lines of code is not uncommon. Anything over 100,000 lines of code and above, we excel above what we can find from a ChatGPT or a Claude or otherwise uh, for accuracy and confidence. But the concept is it'll ingest the code and be able to provide you those documents, whether you'd like them in Markdown or PDF or as JSON or otherwise. Really, really easy for you to be able to incorporate into whatever you might need to do, whether that's modernize, maintain, or just be able to integrate it with some other additional systems.
From your experience, what is the biggest challenge most companies have when it comes to taking over these apps and modernizing them? And what advice do you have?
A lot of times it's hard to figure out where to start. It's also difficult to be able to, context truly does matter. You need to be able to have a point issue or you have a pain within your organization. Your line of business wants a brand new product launched. You might want to upgrade to a brand new payment provider. Your security team comes back with the fact that your biggest problem happens to be with your existing systems. These are all areas that every CIO is challenged to be able to be organizationally agile. But at the same time, they're spending 80% of their budgets on keeping the lights on it. So there's always a fine line between going fast and also being not being able to break things. Business continuity is king. And by able to have a better understanding of what you're doing and your context and your intelligence, you're able to make the much more educated choices. That's what we all talk about. Opinions are great. Data really does help out with that. Same concept applies with existing systems that you may have not built over the years or that you have that are aging. How do you best approach that? First thing is to stop, take a good look around the landscape, and then be able to provide your plan. There's lots of ways to be able to feed this type of information into these new agentic-based code gen systems, or to be able to offshore to a system or a company that would like to be able to modernize. But understanding how your business works today and making sure all the nuances that were collected over large lessons can be a real challenge and a lot of the risk when it comes to these modernization issues. Even a lift and shift can be dangerous. So this is where we feel that we can offer you quite a bit of a value prop with CoreStory.
So is CoreStory utilizing AI in its tools?
Uh, CoreStory is a combination of a frontier model. We've been doing this work before AI really was cool. Our founder's been a PhD from Berkeley, who's done a lot of machine learning and building off of low-code systems. And a mixture of that with static source code analysis and other portions of work that we continuously feed back into a process in order to get some very accurate reports on exactly what does this system do at a business level, as well as at an architectural level, and even at a code base level. So you can find out that function X talks to these 5 files, and if I touch it, I need to take a look here, or that these particular business rules that might be in play will be impacted by whatever change we have in place.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because, of course, we hear about AI a lot. And I know a lot of people are using things like ChatGPT to create code, and they say you can use it to read code and build websites, etc. But what are your thoughts on that and the security of using and the reliability of using such AI tools?
We spend a lot of time focused on accuracy, or a lot of times confidence is what we call it within Core Story. That AI can hallucinate regularly. And while you may have a system, or if to put it in layman's terms, let's say that you have a homework assignment. If it's a 3-page article, ChatGPT can do fine. You would be really reluctant to put your whole PhD thesis through something like ChatGPT to be able to generate that because it will make assumptions and make mistakes. It will not be as correct as it should be and will be leaky. Just the way that these systems work. With the work that we do, we make certain that large enterprise systems can feel very, very confident about the requirements. And if not, then it's highlighted. So, you know what, Amanda? This particular section of the customer relationship management, we're not so sure about these 15 files. You'll need a human in the loop to be able to take a look at. The benefit is that you still get a lot of the speed without much of the risk that you might incur by just trying to put this through a system that quote unquote good enough. You might be able to pull this off for a very, very small departmental organizational website or your kid's soccer team's scheduling site. But once you get a little bit more complicated, you're going to want a tool that is really focused on being able to help you understand, modernize, and secure your systems. That's where core story value prop comes into play.
So, moving forward, looking toward the future, what do you envision?
Well, if you think about it, natural language will be the definition of how we program within 2 decades. And by that, I mean that you'll be able to tell your AI systems what you'd like and get into very specific details. And so long as you frame it correctly and are organized about what you want and this how the system should scale and what types of interactions there should be, a lot of this will be algorithmically programmed. There is a mind shift that's going to happen within the industry towards spec-driven development. full stop, where the languages themselves will be a bit more commoditized than they are today, except for those with exceptional use cases. But the vast majority of businesses will understand that they need to transform relatively quickly and have a disciplined way to be able to write their requirements in order to be able to generate new systems. Our system can help with that, but if you step back, you'll think through the fact that our ability to generate code now is by far faster than our ability to comprehend it. We'd like to think that CoreStory can help you with that particular portion, with whether it happened to be a vibe coded system that was an experiment that took off and was successful, or you have this 15-year-old existing legacy system that you'd like to be able to upgrade and modernize and bring into the modern age. If you can get this into a spec that is correct, there's all sorts of possibilities from all sorts of vendors that allow you to be able to generate that code very, very quickly at enterprise grade that is secure and then is maintainable over time. And that's where I think the future of software development is headed towards.
All right. Well, if there was one last key takeaway you could leave our audience with today, what would that be?
Oh my. That I think I think I just left it on a relatively high note that the future of software will be natural language, and how one is thinks through and manages a system is going to be important for those that are not just programmers anymore, but even the product managers or those business line owners, and thinking through what they want their system to do in order to be able to accomplish the goals of their organization. Uh, we think that this can help along with a myriad of other tools within the industry. This is yet another inflection point of real AI that is truly applied, that can provide real value nearly immediately, as opposed to some of the experiments that we've heard of in the press recently.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you so much, Amanda.
And thank you to our audience. Share what you found interesting in this conversation and feel free to share what interests you. What do you want to hear about moving forward? And have a wonderful day.